She tried to break him. He only grew stronger. The metal chains around his wrist had been there for 47 days now. Captain Jake Morrison counted each sunrise through the small window of his cell on the alien ship. The Zephyrian vessel had captured him during the Battle of Centauri Prime, and now he hung suspended in their detention chamber like a prize. Commander Lyra Vex stood before him, her tall blue-skinned form casting shadows across the dim room. Her silver eyes held no mercy as she studied the human prisoner. The Zephyrian military had sent their best interrogator to break this stubborn Earth soldier, and Lyra had never failed before. "Tell me about your fleet positions," she demanded, her voice like cold steel. "Where are the remaining human ships hiding?" Jake lifted his head slowly. Blood dried on his lips from yesterday's session, but his brown eyes still burned with defiance. "I already told you. Go ask your mother." The electric shock came swift and brutal. Jake's body convulsed against the restraints as 10,000 volts coursed through him. When it stopped, he was breathing hard but still conscious, still unbroken. Lyra watched with growing fascination. Most species crumbled after the first week of her treatment. The Andromedans begged for mercy after 3 days. The Rigel warriors lasted maybe 10 days before spilling everything. But this human had endured over a month of her best techniques, and he only seemed to get more resistant. "Your pain tolerance is remarkable," she admitted, walking closer. "But everyone breaks eventually." "Not today," Jake whispered hoarsely. She activated the neural disruptor. The device sent waves of agony directly into his brain, bypassing all physical defenses. Jake screamed, his back arching as the torture overwhelmed his senses. But when it ended, he looked up at her again with that same stubborn fire. "Is that all you got?" he gasped. Something stirred in Lyra's chest that she did not recognize. Admiration, perhaps. She had studied dozens of species, learned their weaknesses, exploited their fears. But humans were different. This one was different. Days blended into weeks. Lyra tried everything in her arsenal. Psychological warfare, showing him false images of Earth burning, physical torture that would have killed most beings, sleep deprivation that lasted for days. Each time Jake Morrison endured, each time he came back stronger. "Why do you resist?" she asked one morning, genuinely curious now. "Your fleet is gone. Your planet is under siege. You have nothing left to protect." Jake smiled through his bruised face. "That's where you're wrong. I'm protecting something you'll never understand." "And what is that?" "Hope." The word hit Lyra like a physical blow. In her centuries of service to the Zephyrian Empire, she had never heard anyone speak of hope with such conviction. Her people had conquered 100 worlds, enslaved countless species, but they had never understood what drove humans to fight so desperately. "Hope is an illusion," she said, but her voice lacked its usual confidence. "Hope is what makes us human," Jake replied. "You can break my body, scramble my brain, but you can't kill what lives in here." He nodded toward his chest. Lyra found herself visiting his cell more often, even when she wasn't conducting interrogations. She told herself it was professional curiosity, but deep down she knew it was something else. This human's unbreakable spirit fascinated her in ways she couldn't explain. "My real name is Lisa," she said one day, using the human translation of her birth name. "Not Lyra. That's my military designation." Jake looked surprised. "Why are you telling me this?" "I don't know." As weeks passed, Lisa began to question everything she had been taught about humans. The Empire claimed they were weak, primitive creatures barely worth conquering. But Jake Morrison proved otherwise every single day. His strength wasn't physical, though he had that too. His strength came from something deeper, something her people had lost long ago. "Tell me about Earth," she said during one of their sessions. "What do you want to know?" "Everything." So Jake told her, about blue skies and green forests, about children playing in parks while their parents watched with love in their eyes, about music and art and the simple joy of sharing a meal with friends, about people who would risk everything to help a stranger, who would die before abandoning their principles. Lisa listened with growing wonder. The Zephyrian Empire had technology beyond human imagination, but they had no art, no music, no love. They had efficiency and order and conquest, but they had lost their souls somewhere along the way. "You're changing me," she whispered one night. "No," Jake said softly. "I'm just showing you who you already were underneath all that armor." The breakthrough came on day 73. Lisa entered his cell to find Jake hanging limp in his chains, apparently unconscious. For a moment, panic seized her heart. Had she finally pushed too far, Jake? She called out, rushing to check his pulse. His eyes opened and he smiled weakly. Worried about me, she started, then stopped. The truth was too dangerous to admit. It's okay, he said. I'm worried about you too. That night, Lisa made her decision. She couldn't continue this charade. The human had won, but not in the way anyone expected. He hadn't broken under torture. Instead, he had broken through the walls around her heart. She disabled the security cameras and entered his cell one final time. Her hands shook as she unlocked his restraints. Jake fell forward and she caught him, supporting his weight against her shoulder. Why? He asked. Because you showed me what we lost when we became an empire, she said. You showed me what it means to be alive. Together they made their way through the ship's corridors. Lisa had memorized the guard rotations, disabled the alarm systems, and prepared an escape pod. As they reached the hangar bay, alarms finally began to blare. Hurry, she urged, helping him into the pod. Jake paused at the entrance. Come with me, Lisa shook her head. This is your escape, not mine. I have to face what I've done. Lisa, please, go, she said firmly. Live. Hope. Show the galaxy what humans are really made of. As the escape pod launched toward the distant Earth fleet, Lisa stood in the hangar, watching it disappear among the stars. Security forces surrounded her moments later, but she felt no regret. The human had indeed broken her, shattered every belief she had held about strength and weakness, about what it meant to be alive. But in breaking her, Jake Morrison had also set her free. The war between humans and Zephyrians would continue for years to come. But it would be different now, because one alien had learned what one human had always known. True strength doesn't come from the ability to inflict pain, but from the courage to endure it without losing hope. And sometimes, the greatest victory isn't in remaining unbroken, but in helping others find the strength to break free from the chains they've placed around their own hearts. Jake Morrison had been captured as a prisoner of war. He escaped as something far more dangerous, a symbol of everything the human spirit could achieve when it refused to surrender. And Lisa, the interrogator who was supposed to break him, discovered that some things are worth breaking for. In the end, he didn't just grow stronger, he made her stronger too.